welcome to my book journey. Today I'm here to talk to you about the rest of my TBR. I had released a video a couple days ago showing you a small TBR of a readathon that I was going to be participating in. But this video is to talk about my normal, I guess you'd say my normal TBR that I am going to be working on in the month of August. And so in the month of August, I have chose to read sci-fi books and fantasy books. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I know the other video I released had to do more with like suspense books, but the ones I'm going to talk about today are mostly sci-fi and fantasy. And then I also I'm going to talk about some books that I'm going to be starting because in the month of August, my daughter and I homeschool my daughter, and so we're going to start up our school year here in August. And so I'm going to talk about some books that I'm reading for myself as far as homeschooling, and then also books that we're going to be reading with her starting off the school year. If you're interested in that, that'll be at the end of the video. Okay, so before I get started on that, though, I want to talk about another readathon that's happening this month that you all might be interested in participating in. Okay, so that readathon that I'm going to tell you about is called Deck of TBRathon, and this one is really, it just sounds so fun. When I saw it, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm already doing this and this and this and this. But you know what? I am going to try to do maybe a couple of books with using these prompts that are given to us. So this is put on by two booktubers, and that is Becca Books and Bujo and Always Booked, and that's Becca and Chloe. And so I will put their announcement videos below if you all want to check those out, and they'll go through all the instructions and everything. But I think it's pretty cool because what it is you can see that, and they gave us this nice printout too. So what you would do for the month of August, if you wanted to participate, is just have a deck of cards and then just draw a card. And then depending on what card you draw, like if you draw a 3, oh, and it's also they've got a point system too that if you want to participate in that. So depending on if you want to shoot for 1, 3, or 5 points, if you draw a 3, you would say for point 1 is acquired from your own TBR that you acquired in the last month, that you've had over a year, or over 5 years old for the 5 points. And so each card has 3 different, there's a main topic and then 3 different choices if you want to go for more points. So I may try to do this. I'm thinking I'm going to do this. Maybe I'll do it in a short, like I will draw a card and then find out which prompt I get, and then which one do I want to go for? Do I want to go for a lot of points, or maybe just 1 point? But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there to show you guys that there's another fun readathon that's happening in the month of August. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so to start with, every month I always do 5 yearly reading challenges that are put on by some of the booktubers here. And so I'm going to start with those. And like I said, I'm going to do fantasy or sci-fi or fantasy for each of these yearly prompts. And so the first one is Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. That's put on by Chantel Reads All Day. And so her readathon, she gave us two different authors to follow. And so I, for the most part, since the beginning of January, I think I've only stayed on the Doyle side. Well, this month I am crossing over because now this is a month we get to choose whether we want to stay on the Doyle or whether we want to go, switch. So I'm going to switch this time. I'm going to go to the Montgomery side, because on the Montgomery side, let me actually get that. I should have had that ready, sorry. So in the month of July, both the Montgomery side and the Doyle side had the same prompt. And so now in August, since we both did the same thing, we had the choice of either staying on the one you were previously or switching. So For August, the Montgomery prompt is along the shore. Read a book with water on the cover. And then the Doyle prompt was Adventure of Wisteria Lodge. Read a book with a house on the cover. And I did not have any fantasy or sci-fi with any house on the cover, so I was like, well, I guess I gotta go over to Montgomery, and so read a book with water on the cover. So for that one, I'm going to read Deep Blue, because look at this beautiful cover, and there's definitely water on the cover because this is a story of a mermaid. So it's a fantasy about a mermaid, and so here she is in the water. And so this was called Deep Blue by Jennifer Donnelly, and this one says, Seraphina, daughter of Isabella, Queen of Miramara, has been raised with the expectation and burden that she will someday become ruler of the oldest civilization of merfolk. On the eve of the Dokimi ceremony, which will determine if she is worthy of the crown, Sarah is haunted by a strange dream that foretells the return of an ancient evil. So this sounds really, really good. So this is going to be what I'll read for Chantel's prompt for August. Okay, so the next yearly challenge I have is going to be Paperbacks and Ponytails, Katie. And for August, her prompt is going to be A Place You Want to Live. And so I'm going to pick this at the end of the month, after I've read all my books, my sci-fi and fantasy. I'm going to pick one of those. Maybe I would have liked to live underneath the sea. I don't know, we'll see. So that's going to be open as I'm reading which one I choose. And then Jane Reads, Jeanette with Jane Reads, her prompt for August is a TBR vet that I'm guessing has been on your TBR maybe before, or something that you wanted to read for a long time. And so that one, I'm going to read this book here. This is a sci-fi. Now, this book is called Recorder, and it's by Kathy McCrum, and I've been dying to read this book for a long time. Even before I got it, I was gifted this for my birthday, and so I just haven't had a chance to read it. And so I was like, well, heck, when I do my sci-fi and fantasy month, I'm definitely going to have to read this book, Recorder. I've heard so much about it that it's really good. So this is going to count for Jane Reads her challenge, the TBR vet. Okay, so the next one is Oshina's challenge. And for Oshina, her read Christian romance, I am going to do sorry, drew a blank. For Oshina's, I was like, I looked over at my, I looked over at my, I keep hitting my phone. I looked over at my cart and I'm like, where's the book? It's because I don't have the book. Okay, so for hers, I'm going to do the prompt of a different genre. And so fantasy is a different genre. I haven't read any fantasy romance for her challenges anyway. And so I am going to read a book called Suspended in the Stars. And I'll put this up here because I don't have it. I'm going to check it out at the library. I can't get a physical copy, but I can read it on Libby. And it's by E.A. Hendricks. And the isn't the cover beautiful? It has just a beautiful cover. You can tell it's a romance, and it's in space, I think. I think it's in space. Yeah, Suspended in the Stars. And so I've heard some people talk about it, that it's really good. So that is going to be my pick for Oshina's challenge. And then the last yearly challenge I have is with Angie Book Mama here on BookTube. And her prompt for August is read a hyped book. And so that one I'm going to read. And this one I've been wanting and dying to read. I finished up the Caravel series a couple months ago, and I'm ready and really been wanting to read this book here. And this it starts a whole new trilogy by this author, Stephanie Garber. But I have heard that a lot of the similar characters from the Caravel series are in this book. And so this is called Once Upon a Broken Heart. So that's going to be my one for a hype book. Okay, so those are the challenges that I have that I'm going to read my fantasy books. But of course, I always have extras just in case. Like if things that have been on my shelf or things that I've gotten a hold of lately that I want to read. And one of them is, and I know I'm going to read this because I checked it out at the library, and it's this book. Oh, I'm so excited to read this one. This is a fantasy too. This is Reckless. This is book 2 of the book Powerless, if anybody's ever read that one, by Lauren Roberts. And this is probably going to be, I have to say, it's probably going to be the first book I read this month, because I just can't wait to find out what happens to this girl. What is her name again? Her name is Peyton, and Kai is the love interest. This Powerless was about a girl who lives in a world that a lot of people have powers, different kind of powers, and she does not. That's why it's called Powerless. And so in the first book, she pretended to have a power, and she did a really good job too. And so this is going to pick up where we left off, and we left off in a really interesting predicament that she found herself in. And so, like I said, and this is a book that I read the first book with my husband, so I'll read this one with him too, so we both want to know what happens. So that's going to be a add-on extra. And then these two are books that I've heard a lot about as far as fantasy that I've been wanting to try to read to see if I like it. And this one I heard, it's a retelling of Cinderella. It's called Cinder. And I don't read a lot of fairy tale retellings. I tried to read a few, and the only ones I really liked so far have been retellings that were like set in the West. Now this is, I guess, a sci-fi one. And I always thought that's kind of interesting, but everybody tells me you have to read this. It's really good. You'll like it. And so I checked this out from the library, and we'll see if I get around to reading it. We'll see if I get around to reading it. And then this one is a short one, so maybe I can sneak this one in. This book is called The Selection by Kira Cass, and I actually have, I think there's 4. I actually have 4 of them on my shelf that I picked up all 4 at my library sale a long time ago. It's been a while, and I just haven't had the time or the chance to read these. And they're short, so I really want to try to read these. And it sounds like a really fun book too. So it's another one that I could try to read. And so those are all the sci-fi fantasy books that I'm going to try to read this month. And then this one is Krista from Books and Gems. She has been doing, I think it's maybe every other month, she does like a group read book for people to join her that have Christian books. And so for the month of August, she's going to be reading Hind's Feet on High Places. And when she made her list at the beginning of the year, because she gave us all the books that she was planning to do, and I saw, hey, I had that one. This one I also picked at a library sale. And so when I saw that she was going to do it, I was really excited because I already have the book. And I was looking through it, and it's so pretty. It has really pretty, beautiful pictures. And so this is going to be a fun, nice book to read through along with everybody else and participate in that. So there's that one. And then, okay, so that's those. And before I move on to my homeschool stuff, I do want to do my jar pick. And let's see, I don't know. I haven't had much luck with this jar. I've picked good books, and I've enjoyed the books that I've read out of here, but as far as, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, here we go. Let's see how I do this month. Okay, I've got one, and hopefully it's not a chunker. I shouldn't have put so many chunkers up there, and I did. But that's probably why they're there, because I never got around to reading them because they were chunkers. Oh. This one. The Secret History. Okay, give me a minute. I'm going to go up there and see exactly what this book is about. Okay. The Secret History. This is the one I picked, and it is a chunker. I don't know. We'll see. This is by Donna Tartt, and this one I picked this up at a library sale because I recognized the title. I had heard people talk about it, But that was a long time ago when I picked it up, so I don't know what it is about. Let's see. Okay, it says, truly deserving of the accolade modern classic, Donna Tartt's novel is a remarkable achievement, both compelling and elegant, dramatic and playful. Under the influence of charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at a New England college discover a way of thought and life a world away from their banal contemporaries. But their search for the transcendent leads them down a dangerous path beyond human constructs of morality. Oh, this is a psychological thriller. Huh. Well, we'll see. I don't know if I will get to this one. I would love, in the comments, let me know if you've read this book, and if you, I don't know. This is quite a big one. And I'm looking up there. And if I want to do fantasy, I may not do this one. Give me just a minute. Okay, so I do not think I am going to read this one. It's not really fantasy. It's more of a psychological thriller, and it's chunky, and I'm not feeling that I want to read this book. So I know I'm cheating in my with my jar, but so I went up on, but I am going to read a book off that shelf, from the shelf, you know, the ones that are in my jar. And so I looked up there, and I did have a few sci-fi, and so I picked this one. And so this one is called Recursion by Blake Crouch, and this is the one that wrote Dark Matter. And so I've never read any of his books before, but I did watch the TV show Dark Matter with my husband and I and my son. We watched that recently, I guess last month sometime. We watched the series, and it was pretty good. It was really good. And the show was really good because not only did he write the book, but the author had a lot to do. He wrote the screenplay and everything for the TV show, and it was really good. And so, and I kind of liked that, you know, that storyline that he gave us. And so I have this one on my shelf, and isn't it pretty? It's a really pretty book. And this one is about, let's see, I'll just read a little bit out of here. It says, that's what New York City cop Barry is learning. Oh, I guess I should start from the beginning. Memory makes reality. That's what New York City cop Barry Sutton is learning as he investigates the devastating phenomenon the media has dubbed false memory syndrome. Ooh, that's interesting. A mysterious affliction that drives its victims mad with memories of a life they never lived. Oh, that sounds good. I don't want to read anymore. I don't want to get spoiled. Okay, so this is going to be my jar pick for the month of August. And so it's sci-fi, and it sounds like kind of a mystery too. So that's going to be my jar pick. Okay, so those are all the books, and there's so many, that I'm going to try to read this month for the month of August. And then not only am I starting homeschool with my daughter, but we're going to be on a vacation during the month of August too. So one of these books, either from my fantasy TBR or my suspense TBR, I'm going to try to find those, one of those on book on tape. That way I can hear it on the drive, because we're going to be driving quite a bit for our trip. So maybe I can do a book that way. Okay, so now I wanted to share with you some books that I am thinking about. These are not all going to be read in August, but since we're starting our homeschool in August, I just wanted to share some books that I'm going to be reading for myself, and then the books that we are going to be reading together. We do like read alouds. Let me put that one back before I forget. We do read alouds that I really love in our homeschool, and so I have a few that I'm going to be reading for her. So as far as my homeschool books for myself, I have 3 here. Well, one of them is not homeschool, but this one is called Teaching from Rest, A Homeschooler's Guide to Unshakable Peace, and it's by Sarah Mackenzie. So this is a short one that I can read. These would be like books that I read in the morning, like in my quiet, after I read my Bible, and I have like a nonfiction book to read for myself and my quiet time, or in the evenings after when I'm not working. Okay, so there's that one. And then this one I've been wanting to read for a long time, and this one is called Homeschool Bravely, which I definitely need, by Jamie Erickson. How to Squash Doubt, Trust God, and Teach Your Child with Confidence. So this is one that I'm going to be starting in August as well. And then this one is, oh, it is a homeschool. I've had it for a lot. My husband gifted this to me a while back, and I just haven't worked it into my schedule to read. It's called Mother Culture, for a Happy Homeschool, by Karen and Andriella. And so this book is a really sweet book. And like I said, I won't be reading all of these 3 books all in August, but these will be books that I'll be reading throughout my homeschool year, or at least some of them. Hopefully towards after I read these 3, I'll find some other ones. So if you are, if you happen to be a homeschool mama, homeschool parent, let me know if you've read any of these books, and what's your thoughts on them. And if you have any homeschool books for moms that you have read that you would recommend to me, jot those down in the comments below as well. I'd love to hear about those. So for my daughter, as far as read alouds, we're still working on American history. We're going to be finishing that up this year. And so our next read aloud in that one is going to be this book, Carry On, Mr. Bowditch. So this is going to be, this will probably be like for us an August, September read, depending on how many chapters we're supposed to read in our schedule for our homeschool. So there's that one. And then I'm also doing a science unit for Earth science that we're doing with her. And I kind of, whenever I do a unit study, I like to pair up another read aloud book that kind of goes with it. And so I kept hearing people when they would do this particular study, one of the books they mentioned was My Side of the Mountain by Jean George. And I knew I had this book already. So I was like, well, hey, that'd be a great one to go along with that one. So we're going to be reading that one. And finally, she is challenging me, really, because I'm trying to get her to read more. And, that's a struggle sometimes. But so she's like, well, Mom, I'll read this, but I want you to read one of my books too, so that we could talk about it. And so I said, okay, what book do you want to read? And so this, she has this book, it's called Wings of Fire, but this is the graphic novel thing. So she's like reading this one. And then she wants me to read the book. She's gonna read it too, but she wants me to read the actual book. It's called Wings of Fire, The Dragonette Prophecy is the first book. Book 1, and it's by 2T Sutherland. And I know these are pretty popular with the middle schoolers, I think, that read these Wings of Fire series. So I don't know. I started reading it last night with my daughter, and so there's a lot of names I'm gonna have to figure out, and it's kind of neat because they have they show the different dragons and things. And so I think it'll be good for us, good for me too, kind of, outside my comfort to read a different kind of book. And then we can talk about, things that we're able to talk about. And hopefully it'll motivate her to read more, like, hey, I read a book that you liked, and hopefully that will help during this school year. I really want to get her reading more and to like reading more. So those are the books that we are going to start with this year, and then all the other books that I have for August. And there's just so many, but I have quite a few that I have been wanting to read for a while, so I think it's gonna be fun. A lot of and fantasy and sci-fi are some of my favorites, really. I've had some really read some really good ones in the past, and I think the ones I've chosen are not going to let me down. I think they're going to be really good. Okay, so that is everything that I have for you today. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of the books that I mentioned. If you're going to do the deck, where is her thing? It's down here. If you're going to participate in the deck TBRathon, or if you're going to try the suspense readathon that's also out there. And I think I'm trying to think what other things. There's every month I'm looking through stuff, and everybody's like, oh, it's this and this. You know, you want to. They all sound fun, and you want to try all of them. I think there's another one. Oh, I think there's one that talks about reading your. I think it's Krista with Books and Gems. I think she has one to catch up on all your book of the month books. I don't have book of the month, so that was an easy one to say, hey, I don't have to do that one. So anyway, I'm just rambling now. Okay, so that is everything I have for you today. Again, like I said, if you've read any of these books, let me know, and let me know what you're planning on reading on in August, or if you're gonna, you know, take it easy this month before school starts. All right, you all have a blessed day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.